So here we are back in the car after the adventures of this week. We had SP Recovery, that group session the other day. It is available on this channel, the recording of it. It's over 2 hours long. It's an epic SP Recovery video. But yeah, it was a really good group session. I'm glad we had it. And I'm very appreciative of the people who partook in it. And, were courageous enough to share their thoughts and feelings about some of the SP stuff that is so misinterpreted, in my opinion, in the SP community, and which really needs to be brought out more, the important underlying emotional stuff we have to deal with when it comes to relationships, and when it also just comes to manifesting stuff in general and feeling better about ourselves. The line between a lot of these manifesting ideas and psychology and self-improvement is there's not really a line. We can incorporate all these different ideas into our life if we want to, and have them work together in a way that works for us if we're open, flexible, and not overly dogmatic about these various very interesting ideas. So yeah, I hope you watch SP Recovery. If you've had issues with healing relationships, doesn't necessarily have to be romantic relationships, even just interpersonal relationships in general, and you're going to get something out of that session if you watch it, even if you are, have very good relationships and have had very good relationships for years, because there's a lot that is being unpacked there besides just relationship issues. I also released a podcast episode this week. You can find it on, wherever you listen to podcasts, or also on YouTube. Just dealing with shadow work. So much of this emotional healing involves what some people like to label shadow work. And I was quoting David Hawkins in his book, his masterful book, Letting Go, which really talks about ways of doing shadow work and, embracing these difficult feelings when they come up instead of being so scared of them and looking at them more openly. I think one of the first podcast episodes I ever did was quoting Joseph Murphy from The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, talking about the boogeyman in the closet and the fear we have of the boogeyman in the closet. And about if we open the door, we see there's no boogeyman there. That's what a lot of this is like, this process of looking at fear more openly, looking at our shame more openly, looking at the feelings that we have been scared to look at for most of our adult lives. Looking at them more openly, becoming more familiar and intimate with them. And just by doing that, you can do other stuff too, but just by doing that, your life will change. Your life will change. But it's not a sexy manifesting technique. It's like doing the inner work in that regard. One thing I didn't mention, I was, if you watch that SP Recovery, session, there was something near the end where I can't think of what it was, and I couldn't remember it. I remembered it afterwards. Just something really basic that might not pertain to a lot of people who have had SP issues. Might not be relevant at all to a lot of people, but for some people at least, I've noticed just working with clients who have had SP issues, especially because the Neville community is so into a lot of the time, just imagine and then sit on your butt and don't do much. It's going to come to you, right? You're magically going to attract it. And there is some truth to that without question. And we've gone over that time and time again. But generally speaking, and I've made several videos on this before, action helps when we're trying to change a situation. I'm a big advocate of taking action and not just sitting on your butt. The action you take hopefully will feel very natural if you feel in tune and relaxed. But let's be honest, like with relationship issues, SP issues, the action you take a lot of times is probably not going to feel that great, especially when you start doing it. So, in regards to SP issues, some of the action you can take, and again, this is not across the board. This isn't everybody with SP issues by any means, but like, if you haven't been in a relationship and you want to be in a relationship and you're trying some of these different like Neville exercises or even, emotional healing exercises or what have you, there are some action steps you can take that are probably going to help you a lot, and in many cases more than just doing these visualization techniques or whatever. Like, and by that I mean like taking action in the sense of like, maybe try online dating. Like, put yourself out there more. Now, that's not going to feel comfortable probably for a lot of people. But by putting yourself out there more, trying online dating or considering going on a date with, being set up by friends or whatever, that's taking action. That's, leaning into these uncomfortable feelings that are going to come up when you do something like that, when you put yourself out there romantically and maybe have not done that for a long time or ever, which is totally fine not to have done that. But if you put yourself out there, things are going to start to shift for you, especially if when you put yourself out there, you feel into the discomfort in the way we were talking about. So, for instance, let's say that you, decide to like actively online date after having, maybe you had a dating profile or something, but you never actively partook in it, engage with more people. You're probably going to have uncomfortable feelings associated with doing that, with taking that action. Feel into those feelings, work with them. That can be hugely helpful. And, another thing you can do is just, put yourself out there more and be more socially engaging in general. Talk to more people. It doesn't have to be like, I'm looking for a romantic partner. Like, it's like, just be more, like, look more people in the eye, smile more, engage more. Again, this might not be relevant at all for a lot of people with SP stuff, but it's relevant for some of you. I almost guarantee that. So often you see like if you go on like Reddit or something like that, like people in the Neville community, it's like they're doing these Neville exercises again and again. And remember, Neville, Cecilia and I had that conversation that like, Neville, like he would do these exercises often just once, right? He said, I just do it once and then I forget about it and I go live my life, because he believed, right? So like, but anyway, people are doing SATs night and night again, like, oh, I'm going to meet this perfect person, but they're not taking any external action to help make that happen. And I know it is done, right? That sounds great theoretically, and you can feel that. If you feel it is done, you don't have to take any uninspired action then, if you truly feel it is done. But if you're struggling and worrying why stuff is not happening, I would say it's worthwhile to take uninspired action and just to do something to do it, because we'll start getting the balls rolling, especially if you feel into that discomfort and keep on doing stuff. Like, again, create an online dating profile or look people in the eye when you see them. Or if you see somebody who you are attracted to look them in the eye for a second. These little things, they make a big difference. Even if it doesn't do anything at first externally to change your life, you're taking interaction to shift into being more open to being in a relationship. And all this discomfort is going to come up, and that discomfort is a good thing. Lean into that. And I don't have any specific books to recommend to you, but like books about relationships and getting into a relationship or building a more healthy relationship can be very helpful. And again, those are probably going to be books that are more psychologically or self-improvement based than law of attraction based. So this is like, again, uncommon common sense that we don't hear about enough. I hope that was clear. I think that should have been clear, what I'm saying here. Don't just like do a Neville or Joseph Murphy or other law of attraction technique and then, go about living the self-concept that you still are living your sad, old, miserable, alone, solitary life. Don't do that. The point of like these Neville exercises or similar exercises is to shift how you feel about your relationships and your relationship with yourself. By shifting your relationship with yourself, your self-concept of yourself, by doing that, your relationships with other people change, right? That's the point of these exercises. But if you're doing like a SATs, right? Supposedly doing SATs, because if you really do SATs correctly, you're not going to feel this way. But if you're doing SATs and you don't feel better, do some other stuff and do more, psychologically based relationship stuff and feel into these uncomfortable feelings. But yeah, I mean, putting yourself out there and being open, it's not different than like, we were talking about in the group session, like, if you have a partner that you want to get back with, that you want to be in a relationship with, it's like you have to have the courage to put yourself out there to really express that to them. I've seen that a lot where people don't really express their feelings to the partner their ex-partner or the partner they want to be with. They kind of tiptoe around it. They don't really express themselves. And just like with online dating or something like that, you can express yourself, put yourself out there, and then you might be rejected. And that hurts. I know that. But you know what? You feel that hurt. You feel it, feel into that discomfort, and you move on. If you can do that, something eventually good is going to come of this, and probably a relationship. But in the very least, you're going to learn so much about yourself and about self-love and about giving love. Giving love. And if you love yourself, you love the other, if you want to get more spiritual and esoteric about it. All these things tie together. If you have any questions or would like coaching about this subject or similar subjects, you know where to find me. RadicalCounselor.com. Until next time.